Okay, I think we're going to make a start, and I'll just admit anybody else that arrives a little bit later. So, hi everyone. It's nice to see some familiar names in the chat from last week. So this is our session, second session, I should say, of looking at how you go about developing youth-driven campaigns that create environmental behaviour change. My name is Tina. And you can see a picture of me on the bottom right hand side of the screen there. I'll turn my camera on in a minute as well. And I am the Global Youth for Change Manager at an organisation called Raleigh International. And we work with young people across the world essentially to take social and environmental action and support young people to design and implement social and environmental campaigns, which is what we're focusing on here today. I'm joined by some colleagues of mine, so I'm just going to let them introduce themselves quickly. If we start with Shambhavi, and then we'll go to Gerald and Emma. If you could just say hello and tell everybody who you are, that would be great.
Thanks, Tina. Hi, everyone. My name is Shambhavi. I'm from Nepal, and I'm the campaign coordinator for Kathmandu Recycles.
Awesome. G?
Yes, hey everyone, this is Gerard from Tanzania, East Africa, working with Raleigh Tanzania as a project coordinator, leading Kesho Tutachelewa campaign. Nice to visually meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Sainz. I'm the campaign coordinator in Costa Rica, Central America for the campaign Greentalist. So I'm really excited to be here and talk a little bit more about our process. And I hope you can learn something today from us. And welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right. So as I said, this is the second session, the second and final session in our kind of little course on how to create environmental behaviour change campaigns. And I'm going to start in a second by doing a little recap of what we covered last week. If you weren't here last week, that's not a problem. We'll catch you up, and I can see some familiar names that have joined the group who, when we get to doing some breakout rooms, we'll be able to provide you with a bit of insight as to the topics that we've covered so far. So in terms of an update, what we did last week was this. So we started looking at how you would go about designing an effective campaign that creates environmental behaviour change. We decided that in order to create an environmental campaign that changes people's behaviours and has genuine impact, you need to undertake a number of different steps in the design process of your campaign. So the first thing we looked at was problem identification. And that entailed identifying a core problem that you want to solve through your campaign, and then really pulling out the causes of that problem, what leads to it, but also the consequences. So you have this really in-depth, holistic understanding of why these environmental issues pervade and persist. We then went on to look at audience identification. So once we've identified the problem, we need to understand who is involved. Who are the different stakeholders and organisations? To what extent do they have power in addressing the problem? But also, to what extent are they actually interested in doing something about the issue or the problem itself? Or perhaps they are the opposite. Perhaps they don't want to do anything about it at all. So by looking at audience identification, we can begin to see the different individuals and stakeholders that we would need to work with in order for a campaign to be effective. Finally, step 3, we started looking at insight generation. So this was formative research. So thinking about how we can use qualitative research methodology. So that's research that really asks big why questions. Why is this happening? Why does this person have power? Why is this individual favouring this particular behaviour over another? In order to uncover, as Gerald taught us, the underlying drivers of behaviour. Because a lot of the time when it comes to negative environmental behaviours, people behave in particular ways for reasons that aren't necessarily immediately visible to us. So we have to use formative research as a means of uncovering those drivers and understanding a bit more about why that occurs. And then finally, we went into looking at what you then do with those insights. So once you've uncovered all of these kinds of invisible forces that cause people to behave in particular ways, whether it's culture, whether it's psychology, whether it's tradition, whether it's religious belief, what do you then do with that? Well, you use those insights to enable you to design behavioural interventions. So things that you can do through your campaign, which cause people to switch to more positive environmental practices. And Gerald took us through the COM-B model, which stands for capability, opportunity and motivation, as a means of which we can design these interventions utilising that model. I've just had I'm muted, sorry. I've just had a question that's asked if there's any way that we can access a summary of this training. Yeah, there is. So at the end of last session, we shared a link with you to our digital platform, which I've just put back in the chat now. So actionnotexcuses.org is a digital hub for young people under the age of 35, where they can come together, where they can collaborate on ideas for environmental activism, campaigns and different initiatives. It's a place where you can join and participate in campaigns that are already being run by a lot of the youth societies that are involved in the Action Not Excuses initiative. It's a place where you can set up your own campaigns potentially, if that's something that you would be interested in doing. We can work with you on that. But there is a group on this platform called IUCN Youth Summit that you can join, and we will host all of the content from both last week's session and this week's session in that group so that you can access it. And I believe that these sessions are also being recorded and will be saved somewhere so that you can access them afterwards. So if you haven't done so already, there's a link in the chat there to actionnotexcuses.org. I really encourage you all to go and sign up to it. It's a great opportunity for networking with young people all over the world that are interested in similar issues. It's totally free, really easy to sign up, and we would love to have as many of you on there as possible. So there's space to continue this work that we've been undertaking for quite a long time after this session. You're welcome. All right, so we're actually gonna go into breakout rooms in a minute. Because we want to spend as much of this session with the opportunity for you to all collaborate with each other as possible. But just very quickly, I'm going to tell you then what we're going to do this week. The first thing we're going to look at is how we develop something called a campaign theory of change. And this is essentially a model that we use to strategize. So how do we create strategies for effective campaigns? And we're going to be looking at theories of change as a way of doing that. And then secondly, we're going to be looking at creating a brand framework and our identity for our campaigns. So once we've created a campaign, how can we make it visually appealing to people? How can we target the audiences that we want to become involved in the campaigns to get engaged with us? So that's what we're doing today. So last week, for those of you that were here, we were working on Miro boards. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do before I explain the first activity for today is just repaste all of the links to the Miro boards into the chat. So in the chat, you can see that there are 6 boards. These are interactive boards that you can collaborate on. There's one for South and Central America, one for North America, one for Asia, one for Africa, one for Europe, one for Australia and the Pacific. You absolutely do not need to choose the board that correlates to where you're from. You can choose any one that you are particularly interested in. And those boards purely are there to designate geographic regions where we are focusing on specific environmental behaviours. So if you weren't here last week, you can just select any of those boards. And I would probably copy the link of the board that you think best represents where you would like to put yourself in terms of the groups now. So if everybody just has a little look at that list that I've just put in the chat and select either the board that you were working on last week or the board that you would like to collaborate on this week if you weren't here last week. What we're going to do is this. We're going to do a bit of a recap on last week's session. And this is for the benefit of the people that were here last week, but also for the people that were not here, so that you can kind of catch up with what we've done so far. So I mentioned a recap just now of the things that we spoke about in session number 1. On the Miro boards next to the number 4, and I will show you this in a second, you will see these questions. So problem, what is the problem you're trying to solve? Audiences, who are your core audiences? Insights, what insights have you or could you generate about them? You might not have done it, but what insights could you generate about these audience groups? And then how could you use the COM-B model to start thinking about changing this audience set of behaviours? So those questions are on the Miro board. It looks like this on the Miro board. So when you log in, find number 4 on your Miro board, following those links that I just put in the chat. And you're going to be writing your answers to those questions in the orange boxes. So if you were here last week, we're going to ask you to help us out a little bit by explaining to anybody that joins your room the problem that you've been focusing on up until this point. So the people that were here last week, please, if you could just take a little bit of ownership over explaining to the additional participants what the issue is that you're concentrating on, that would be absolutely great. And if you weren't here last week, then there'll hopefully be someone in that room that can talk you through a little bit about what's been covered. And as you talk through it, write the answers to your questions in these orange post-it notes by following the links that I've put in the chat. If for whatever reason you get to a room and nobody was here last week, what we've also done is added an additional problem tree to the Miro board. This is to the left-hand side. This is detailing a challenge, an environmental challenge that's being faced in Tanzania at the moment. So if you weren't here last week, if no one in your room was here last week, then you can use this example instead to kind of go through the steps, and we will come and help you do that. But preferably, if you've got someone in your room that was here last week, you can use the work that you've already done to answer these questions. So I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to open the rooms. You're going to have, how long do we want to give you? I'm going to give you 10 minutes for this particular task. Let me just set that up now. Perfect. And it's self-selecting, so you select your own rooms, but please do select the room that corresponds to the Miro board link that you've selected. So rooms are now open. Please just select whichever room you were in last week, or if you weren't here last week, which room you would like to join. You can select those now. So if everybody would like to select a room to go into, just by clicking on them. Perfect. And if anyone's having any difficulty selecting a room, just let us know and we'll send you to whatever one you want to go to. So if everybody could select a room now, I'll start picking some names out of people that we've got on the call. Utma, would you like to go to a room? And if so, the link doesn't work. Gethin, what room would you like to go to? Just type it to me and I'll send you to it. Europe, cool. Nice. Anybody else doesn't have a link that they can get into, let me know and I'll send you to that room now. So Africa for Samantha. Okay, I don't think there's anyone in there at the moment, but there hopefully will be shortly. Oh yeah, there is. Okay, there you go. Anybody else? So we've still got some people sitting here. So I've got Utma, I've got Rowan's, I've got Nivadita, Hridita, Guillermo. Let me know what room you would like to go to and I'll send you there. You can just write it in the chat box. Or you can unmute your microphone and just tell me. Gerald's gone to Europe, that's great. Shambhavi or Emma, could you go and see Nivedita? She might need to be moved to another room because she's on her own at the moment.
Yep, I'll do that, Tina.
Thanks, mate. Rowans, are you there? Would you like to go to a room? And if so, what room would you like to go to?
Yes, I am here. I am having problems to understand the app to put the answers. I am trying.
Do you want to, shall I send you, is there a particular room that you would like to go to? So what continent, like I need to put you with a group. Okay, let's try someone else. Siyashi, are you there? Shridita, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. What room would you like to go to?
I skipped the question. Sorry, I had some technical issues. Can you repeat?
Yeah, you need to pick a group that you want to join. And the groups are available to you to join now. It's either North America, Asia, Europe. Actually, that's it. North America, Asia, or Europe, or Africa.
Asia?
Asia? Yeah, okay. And it's Hridita I'm talking to, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Now I get Rowans, South America.
Ah, okay. Right, we're in South America. I'm not sure there's anyone there at the moment in South America. South America's empty, Rowan's, unless anyone else
Not
wants
perfect,
to go.
sorry.
Emma, do you want to join? Actually, maybe not. Let's see if anyone else wants to go to South America. Kiara, are you there? No. Khalid? Rowans, would you like to join a different group? Because there's no one in South America at the moment, so you'll be all by yourself, which would be sad. Emma,
where I can see the group is in a different app, in a different platform.
No, I can just do it for you. I'll just send you there. But there's no one in the South and Central America group at the moment, so you'd be by yourself. So I can send you to North America, Asia, or Europe if you'd like to work in a group of people that are there.
North America.
Okay, I'll send
North America then. It's close. It's close to me.
I can send you there.
I just accept Khalid, so maybe you can ask him.
Khalid, are you there? Emma, if you want to go and join a room and just maybe go to North America and see how they're getting on in there, is that all right?
Yes.
Perfect. Gracias. Khalid, are you there?
Hello.
Oh, who's that?
Yes. Hi. 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 It's Ukma.
Hi, Ukma. What room would you like to go to?
Asia. Asia.
Okay, I'll send you there now.
Yeah.
Okay. Siyashi, are you there? Siyashi, can you hear me? Okay. Kiara, can you hear me? Hey, Jonathan, everyone's in breakout rooms at the moment. Would you like me to send you to one? Your choices are North America, Asia, Africa, Europe. Okay, so I've still got Siyashi, Kiera, Constantino, Jonathan and Khalid. Can any of you hear me? And if you can, would you like to join a breakout room?
Yes, please.
Hey, Jonathan, what room would you like to go to?
Hello?
Hello, what room would you like to go to? You can choose from North America, Asia, Africa, or Europe.
Europe.
Europe, awesome. I'll send you there now. Okay, great. Anybody that's just joined, we've currently got people working in breakout rooms based on regions. You don't have to be from these regions to go to these rooms, but your choices are North America, Asia, Africa, and Europe. If you let me know which one you'd like to be in, I can send you there directly. So who have I got? Scanda. Oh, actually, Scanda, Africa. Okay, there's only one person in Africa at the moment, but let me just send you there anyway and see how you get on. Awesome. Who else have we got here? Bharat, would you like to pick a group that you'd like to go to? Your choices are North America, Asia, Africa, and Europe. Bharat, are you there? Okay, let's get some. Okay. All right, welcome back everyone. I've just realised that I haven't had my camera on, so apologies. Hiya. Back on now though. So hopefully that's given you the opportunity to either just recap a little bit around the work that you did last week, or alternatively, it's given you an opportunity to start having a little bit of a look at the Tanzania problem tree and start thinking about some of the key elements of the challenge that's being faced environmentally around deforestation in Tanzania and how that might manifest itself in that step-by-step approach. So we're going to go back into breakout rooms in about 15 minutes. So if you didn't finish that activity, that's not a problem. You can pick it up when you go back into the same breakout rooms. But I'm now going to hand over to Shambhavi, who's going to talk to you a bit about theories of change and what makes a good campaign. Shambhavi, do you have the ability to share? You have, great. All right, over to you.
Thanks, Tina. So now that we've already revisited our problem, our audiences, our insights, and how do we use the COMBI model. So now we are here at the stage of designing a good campaign. So can you use your chat boxes and tell me, what do you think makes a good campaign? You can just type it. Awareness, it is relatable to your audience. Yes. Community involvement. Clear objective and a solid, well thought strategy. Absolutely. Simple message. A good cause for change. Yes. So all of you are absolutely correct. So we need to have a very clear objectives, a clear message, and really need to communicate that well with our audiences. And for that, we need to have our theory of change. So theory of change is basically a comprehensive illustration or description of how and why a desired change is expected to happen. So as you can see in my screen, here are the 5 components of theory of change, and these are not in order. So I want you to again use a chat box and just guess the correct order for this. So what do you think you need to have first, the goal, or the inputs or activities? So how do you think this comes step by step? So just use the chat box and guess what you think the order would be. Goal first. So what do you think after goal? Goal, inputs, activities, output, outcomes. Activity, input. Okay. Goal, activity, input, output. Okay. And then the outcome. Okay. So this is the correct order of theory of change. So first of all, you need to have a very clear defined goal. What does your campaign or your project want to do? And then you break the goals into outcomes, further break down the outcomes into outputs. How do you want to achieve the outcomes? So these are broken down into outputs, and you break down the specific output into specific activities. How do you want to achieve that output? And once you decide on the activities, you need to provide the inputs. What do you think will be required when you're doing a certain activity? So this is the order how theory of change is created. I'll be using a practical example of Kathmandu Recycles, which is a campaign that Raleigh, Nepal is running now, and it focuses on reduction of single-use plastics. So as you've all seen your problem tree, and those of you who have just joined today have created your problem tree here today. So what we need to do is just flip your problem into solution. What do you think the solution is? And then you get your solution tree and your theory of change. So in Kathmandu Recycles, the core problem that was identified was that there was large amount of single-use plastic waste being generated. So if this is the problem, what do you want? The solution. The solution would be more than 50 to 100 young people reduce, reuse, and recycle plastics by June 2022. So if you just flip your problem, you have your solution. So why was there a lot of plastic waste in Kathmandu? So what we identified was that there were not many alternative products available in the market. There was lack of plastic recycling facilities in Nepal. There was very poor information and awareness around impacts of plastic. And there were laws, but they were not really implemented well. So that was why there was a lot of plastic pollution in Kathmandu. So let's take an example of alternative products. So this was the case. There were not many alternatives available in the market. So this was the problem. Now flip this into a solution. So what we've done is outcome 1 focuses on increasing skills and livelihoods for 200 young people through a circular economy in the valley, which means we'll be creating green entrepreneurs to solve the problem of alternatives to plastics. So this is how the problem is flipped into a solution. Let's look at another problem. Poor implementation of laws banning plastic use. So that is the problem. So if you flip into a solution, you would want a sustained implementation of laws banning plastic, and that is your outcome 2. So the next is lack of recycling facility, poor information and awareness around impact of plastic. So the people didn't really know what impact plastic had in the environment, and that was the problem. So if you flip the problem, the outcome is to have a movement of young people to promote and adopt to sustainable alternatives to plastic. So we're creating a movement of young people to solve the problem of lack of awareness and information. The last one is lack of plastic recycling facilities in Nepal. This was one of the problem that was contributing to large amount of plastic waste being generated in the valley. So to flip this problem, we will be working with partner organizations to innovate and generate and promote sustainable alternatives to plastic. So this is how the problem is flipped into solution. And if you see, all of the outcomes are required to contribute to the goal. If you just look at the goal, it is very vague and very unclear. But now that you break it down into specific outcomes, you now know what exactly you need to do in order to achieve the goal. So the first step is always having the goal set and then breaking it down into specific outcomes that comes from your problem tree. So this is the theory of change. So outcome 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you further break the outcome 1 into specific outputs. How do you want to strengthen and sustain the implementation of laws banning plastic? So this itself is very vague. How do you want to do it? What are the specific outputs that you want? So in Kathmandu Recycles, we identified that it can be done through improved collaboration with local government authorities for creating public awareness regarding existing laws. The second one was to create social media campaigns to promote social dialogue and advocate for the implementation of laws banning plastic. The next one was, how do we create a movement of young people? So a movement itself is very vague. So how do we specifically define our audience here? So what we want to do is, we want to have 2,000 young women reuse shopping bags. So we want them to switch to reusable shopping bags, 2,000 of them. We want 2,000 hotels and young people to switch to reusable straws and other utensils. So no plastic straws, no plastic utensils. And we want 1,000 school-going kids to use recyclable bottles. So if you see, we've defined the audience into 2,000, 2,000, and 1,000. So the total makes up of 5,000 young people switching to sustainable alternatives, and which is contributing to our outcome. So outcome breaks into outputs which are very specific. So if you look at outcome 3 and the output now, output is much clearer. You know who your audiences are, you know what the target number is, you know what exactly you want them to change. So this is how outcome is broken down into specific outputs. So now you will need to create your own theory of change, and will be in our breakout rooms. You can join the same breakout room that you had, and you can see the same format on your mirror board. So you have 15 minutes, Tina?
Yep, they'll have 15 minutes for this activity.
Yes.
Correct.
So you can use the same link and same mirror board to join your breakout rooms and create your theory of change.
Great, thanks, Shambhavi. So just a couple more summary points before I open the group team breakout rooms again for you to select. What you'll notice is that Shambhavi hasn't talked you through activities and inputs. They sit at the level underneath this theory of change. So if your output is kind of a sort of small goal that you want to achieve for your campaign, which contributes to the overall goals of the campaign, the activities are the things that you're going to do. So if an output is that 3,000 women start using reusable bags instead of unsustainable plastic bags, perhaps your activities might be things like social media campaign designed, social media campaign implemented, sustainable alternatives to plastic bags procured, sustainable alternatives to plastic bags distributed. So you're really breaking those outputs down into manageable steps. And then your inputs is the stuff that you need to achieve those steps, the things that you need to do those activities. So if one of your activities is procuring non-recyclable bags that can be used again and again, then your inputs would be things like bags, they'd be things like transportation, potentially things like venue hire for where you distribute them, etc. So it really kind of breaks it down into that kind of manageable levels of change. For your activity, we're only interested in these top 3 layers because these top 3 layers really show you the journey of change in terms of what it is that you want to do in order to create your goal and achieve your overall goal. When you come to do this on your boards, we recommend that you use a couple of things. Use the problem tree that you either did last week or the Tanzania example of the problem tree. Or alternatively, you can also use all of the stuff that you designed around the COM-B model, because the capability, opportunity, and motivation elements of your campaign should also sit at the output and outcome level of your theory of change. So if you were to log on to the Miro board, Shababi, could you just change the slide to the next one for me, please? You'll see this. So this is task number 5 on the Miro board. So it's the same template. You're just filling this in with, if you were designing a campaign now, based on all the work you've done, what would it look like? What would your overall goal be? What are the 3 outcomes that you need to achieve in order to achieve that goal? And then how are you going to achieve those outcomes through these outputs? And remember to try and focus on individual behaviours when you do this. I'm just going to put those Miro board links back in the chat so that they're available to everybody. And then I'm going to open the breakout rooms, and you've got 15 minutes on this task, and we'll hop around and come and see you all and give you a hand with this. So if you want to just select your rooms and just hop back into them, and if you need any assistance getting into these rooms, then just shout out and I will let you in. Okay, so I've got Hridita. I'm going to put you in. Great. Perfect. All right, so I've got a few more people. Khalid, where did you want to go again? What room would you like to go to? I think it was Africa, wasn't it?
Africa, please. Thank you.
Sure, no worries. Cool. And Gab, where would you like to go? Or Diane, perhaps you might want to tell me where you'd like to go, what room you'd like to go to. Diane, are you there? Gab, are you there? Gab, can you hear? Oh, I'm late to the event, just figuring things out. No worries, you just need to pick a room that you want to go to. So you can either go to North America, Asia, Africa, or Europe. And if you would like me to put you in one of those rooms, just let me know and I can send you there. Hi, Changji. We've got people working in breakout rooms at the moment. But I can send you to a room if you'd like to choose one. Your choices would be North America, Asia, Africa, or Europe.
Hey, sorry, Tina.
Yeah.
There's someone in our group that can't get onto the link, and I was just wondering if you could enable screen sharing for participants.
Yeah,
so I can
sure.
share my screen.
Multiple participants can share simultaneously. That's what we want, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Cool. I think that should be done now.
Thank you so much.
No worries, thanks. Who have I got? Gabby, you there?
Hi, yes, can I please go to Europe?
Europe, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
No problem. Cool. Hey everyone, welcome back. All right, so I think it's probably becoming relatively clear by now that these sorts of tasks take considerably longer than 15 minutes ago. And, you know, probably with the theory of change alone, this is something that we could have spent at least a day doing. These things take quite a long time. So apologies if you didn't get to finish. I'd be very surprised if you had managed to finish the task in the allotted time. But you know, you've got access to these Miro boards. Use them as a resource to come back to take you through those steps if and when you do want to start thinking about designing your own campaigns, because they are useful steps to undertake. And a theory of change is an absolutely integral element to any campaign or indeed program design, in order to ensure that there is logical and coherent mapping of the change that you're trying to create through whatever campaign or project that you're designing. So we're kind of coming into the last bit of the session today now, and the overall session. I'm going to hand over in a second to Emma, who's going to talk to us about, once you've designed your campaign theory of change, how then do you create a campaign that resonates with the particular audience it is that you're trying to reach, and encourages that audience to undertake whatever form of behaviour change it is that you've identified that you want to see. I will pop back at the end of the hour to just share with you any further links or anything. But just to say now, if people are interested in kind of more training on this type of stuff, more time to explore ideas around designing campaigns, then please do sign up to the Action Not Excuses platform. Because not only does that mean there's a place where we can host these resources for you to have access to them. Oh, the sun's just come out. But it also is a place where you can tell us if you want additional training, support and resources, and we'll obviously listen to that and respond accordingly. But without further ado, I'm going to hand over, if he's still here, to Emma, who's going to take us through the second half of the session. So over to you, Emma.
Perfect. Thank you, Tina. I hope you're having a great time today and you're learning a lot. Now we're going to pass a little bit with communication and branding, because we believe that this is a really important part for us when you have like all the idea, but okay, now how we can communicate all of these that we have to really get involved like our audience and our stakeholders. So I'm going to do like a really like summarize all the tools and kind of most important points that you should have related with communication and branding. So the idea is that you have some tools and maybe you can research more like in the future. And of course, as Tina said, if you want to learn more about those tools, you have like the platform and you also can have our contacts. You can write to us and we can share like more information and resources. And so for this last part, our objective is first to understand a little bit why it's important the communication and branding on campaign. The second one is to understand more about the fundamental elements to create a brand. And the last part, we want you to apply like these elements to create like a small kind of brand for all the ideas that you have been working today and last week. So the first thing that we want to do with you is to see like these three campaigns, and I'm going to share with you on the chat a link so you can go there. Is a mental link, so you can go to the link and they are going to ask you a code. There is a code, and the idea is you to put like what are like the kind of elements that is like kind of attractive in these three campaigns? So you can tell me it could be the message, it could be the color, it could be the simplicity, the image, all the kind of elements that you think are like kind of important, and that catch your attention from the campaign. So you can go to the link, and I'm going to share the results here. If you have any problem, you can tell us. Let me know if you can see the results. So as you can say, it says the message, the logo, image is reflective, striking, okay, thought-provoking, urgency, powerful, colors, content. What else? Let me see. Graphics, that is maybe similar to image. You can see that there is image again there. Message is also repeating there. So as you can see, communication is like many different elements combined to give like a message. So you have to be like thinking in different kind of elements, as you just said, like the image, the logo. You have to have like creativity. You have to think in your colors, how to connect with the community, how to be powerful, how to represent like the best way the message that you want to a catchy line. That's a really good one. So as you can see, we when we have like a brand or a campaign, we need like different kind of elements to catch the attention of different kind of people. So now that you share with us what is like your different kind of element that catch your attention, we're going to see why the communication is important in this kind of campaigns related with environment. So I want to start with a phrase, with a quote that says, what is not communicated does not exist. So we have to communicate all the ideas and all the projects that we create to have like a existence there. So what is not communicated does not exist. But how to move this to a branding? So branding, most of the time we think like, okay, we need color, we need a logo, we need an image, but it's more than that. And here is like something really important to review. So to create a branding, you need a target. That is something that you already have been thinking these days with your audience. For example, in North America, they were talking that they want to work with a government. Also, you have to have a little bit of innovation. Something really useful here for the innovation is try to see like all the campaigns that already you recognize or that you know that are happening right now, and think, okay, how I can how I can do this campaign like in a better way. Then you have to, or you need a strategy that is something that is related with the theory of change, where you can have a goal, outcome, the inputs, etc. So there is your strategy. Then you can have to think like in the marketing. Something that is really important is the marketing, story, and advertising. So how to be creative and how to connect with the community and with the people. So these three parts of the branding are the ones that are going to help you a lot to create like that connection. So the marketing is storytelling and advertising. And something that is really important in this kind of branding related with climate change is the awareness. So how to tell people about the awareness and the kind of different things that we are doing. And the two last part are the ones that are going to help us to with the engagement and that people to be part of that campaign. So the quality and also the loyalty. So I'm going to show you a video about the campaign that we are doing here in Costa Rica that it called Greentalist. It is in Spanish, but the idea is for you to know a little bit about the campaign. And then I'm going to show you with an example how we create like all this campaign.
Greentalist es un movimiento creado por y para jóvenes que impactan positivamente al planeta.
Una comunidad de personas apasionadas por liderar acciones ambientales positivas.
Donde aprenderemos sobre biodiversidad ecológica, manejo de residuos, estilos de vida sostenible y liderazgo ambiental.
Somos juventudes que llevan conocimiento a la acción.
Contribuir la sostenibilidad del país por medio de la formación de liderazgos jóvenes en ambientes que promueven con sus acciones estilos de vida sostenibles.
Ser la comunidad de jóvenes líder en estilos de vida sostenibles en Costa Rica.
So this is like the branding basics that you will need for brand and communication. And I'm going to show you an example with Rentalist, but for you to have like the basic is you need a brief about your campaign that it have to include like the values and the goals about the campaign. Also identify your audience. Who are you going to talk with? Create a name is really important. The graphic elements, as you can see, the colors, the logo, typography, that is like the letters that you are going to use. How to apply the brand, that is something also really, really important. What kind of image are you going to use? If you are going to be like, for example, us, we're going to be like young, to communicate with young people. So you have to be like fresh, it have to be like cool, and these kind of things are really important to have in your branding basics, and also where to share the brand. So what are going to be like the kind of channels that are like more important for the audience that we already decide at the beginning. So I'm going to show you an example with our brand guide. So you can see a little bit how do we create this. So the first thing that we decided was the name. It was like a lot of, we use most of the time like brainstorming. We also use a survey and also a focus group to create the name. So we use 3 tools and we have like 3 different names. Greentalist is the combination between green and environmentalist. So what we want to create is like a community of young people that is interested in green topics and want to be environmentalist. So that was like the first step. When we have like the voting at the beginning inside the group, then we decided to move and do like a survey with our audience to see if the name was something that young people was related with, and if they identify the name with something related with environment. So we did that first survey, and then we did like a focus group, and that helps a lot as to really confirm that the name was for young people, that is was related with environment, that was something like catchy that people are going to remember. So when we decided the name, we start continue with the logo and the colors. As you can see, we are like green and kind of a blue combination that is kind of the two color related also with environment. And then we start like with what is rentalist, why we want to do this. So in our brand guide, the first thing that you are gonna see is our description, our values, our objectives related with the campaign. And for example, the last paragraph, what it says is that we are a brand that is represent for young people that is passion to lead environmental actions and to promote sustainable lifestyles. All of these through good environmental actions that inspire other people to enjoy an environmental movement. So that kind of things are like really important, like one paragraph to summarize like our goals, what are we and why you need to be part of this campaign. And then you can put like your mission and your vision. And this is our logo that is in Spanish is del mundo que tenemos al mundo que queremos. That is from the word that we have to the word that we wanted. Also, the logo, as you just said at the beginning, is something really important. It have to be catchy, short, and related with the topic that you are talking in your campaign. And then there are like the graphic elements that are like really important. So we start like with this kind of combination to do the logo. We want it to be like a G, but also to be like a something to represent like a cycle, because the environment is like a cycle that we have to take care of. So as you can see, it was like kind of the different things that we did, and the final version is that the one that you are going to see right here. So is the name with the G with the colors that we decide to be part of our brand. And in our brand guide, you can see that we put also like examples of how to apply, for example, in this case, the logo, if you are going to do a cup or if you are going to do a different kind of elements. Another thing that is really important is the colors. So we decided to use these different kind of colors, and something if you talk with, I don't know, with a designer of someone that is working in this kind of environment, for them it's really important to have like this combination of numbers and letters, because it helps a lot to always use the same color. For example, there are like a lot of green colors, so to have like the number, it's gonna help to verify that you are always going to use the same one, so your brand are always going to look the same. We have like a complement colors, that is like the colors that we can use, for example, for post in Instagram, if we don't want to use the one that are like here. So it's a good idea to also have like a secondary colors. This is like our typography. We use Source Sans Pro. That's the kind of elements that are like really important. We decided to use these two because we think that is like kind of fresh and it's easy to understand. Everyone can like, it's similar also to the one that are like most of popular. So people are going to be familiar with this kind of letters. And then we use like how to apply the brand. So for example, in pictures, so these are like the kind of pictures that we are using in our Instagram, like a picture of young people, pictures of people doing like different kind of actions, environmental action, that are like really, really important. And then also like other examples, for example, if we want to do like a bag, if we, how to use it in social media, how it's gonna look, in paper, if you're gonna do like stickers or letter or a document in Word, if you're going to do like a presentation, so how it's gonna look. This is the kind of example. We have like different so yes, this is like our brand guide, and it's like the idea. As you can see, we use like the we use the basic elements that I just told you about: the brief, the audience, create a name, the graphic elements, how to apply the brand, and where to share the brand. So it's like something really, really important to have like as basic elements. And after you do all of that, you're going to have like a result that I'm going to show you here, like how is our Instagram. If you want to follow us, also you are welcome to follow us. You're going to see like a lot of information about young people doing like different kind of environmental activities, how to be like more sustainable. So as you can see, we use like our brand here in, we invite like young people to do their own videos because we want the government and everyone to see that young people is not just talk, they're like doing actions. So yes, this is like an example of a kind of a brand. And I want to, before let you do like a little bit of this, I want to give you some tools that are like kind of important and that we use a lot in this process. So I'm not gonna explain like a lot these tools, but maybe you can have the names and then you can do like some research about it. But these kind of tools are really, really helpful if you want to do like a communication and brand. The first one is a brainstorm, that it could be virtual or physical. You just need like a paper or a document where everyone can put like their ideas about the topic. You can use storytelling, that is like how to tell a story related with our campaign. That is something really important to connect with people. Empathy map is like, okay, we are going to research a little bit what kind of campaigns are our audience right now following, what kind of activities they are doing. So it's like to research a little bit about our audience and then do like an empathy map related with them, to know like what are like their interest in different kind of topics. You can also use like storyboards, that is also similar to storytelling. The difference is that storyboards, you are going to do like picture, you're going to use like a picture, or you're going to draw like something related with your campaigns. And another tool that it could be really useful is the focus group, to validate like your brand. So if your name is catchy, if your colors are related with your audience, and all these kind of elements that are like really, really important. So now that you have like a little bit of information about the basic elements and some kind of tools that you can use, we want you to be creative. So we want or have a challenge for you, and we're going to go again into breakout rooms, and we want you to think about an audience, a problem that you already have, and imagine that you will work a campaign for that topic, and you have to design a post for social media with at least, you have to have at least the name of the campaign, a key message that is something really important, always call to action in your key message, or a copy, and also choose like some colors and do like something similar to this, like a post. So for example, this one is related with the day of environmental education. So what we did was to say today is the day of environmental education, and that is our main goal with a campaign. So what are the different kind of activities that you do to learn about environment? So always do like a call to action. So share a picture or tell us about what kind of practices are you doing to have a good or a positive impact related with environment. Always call to action is going to help us to have like an engagement, a better engagement with our audience. And I think I'm going to give you like a tip or yeah, or advice that is, for example, in social media, people think if you have like a lot of followers, you're going to have like the best campaign, but not really. What is more important is not the quantity, but the quality. So if you have like just 200 people, but that 200 people is engaged and always comment and always share your post, that means that your campaign is like success. But if you have like 1,000 people, but only two of them is like having a conversation with you, so there is a problem. So that kind of things are going to help you with this. So we are gonna give you 20 minutes, and then the idea is you to come back and present like your results and to tell us a little bit why you choose that name, what is your copy or key message, and why you choose those colors. And if you have time to do like something like graphic, perfect. If not, just to present the name, the key message, and the color is gonna be awesome. So you are gonna have 20 minutes for this, and then you are going to come back to present like your results. I'm going to move from the different break rooms if you need like any help. And something really important is that you are going to have like some resources here, for example, in your Miro, to help you a little bit with this exercise. So Google Trends, it helps a lot to find like some insights. You can go there and you can put, for example, if you're going to work with reforestation, you put reforestation, and you are going to see like the trends related with the topic. If you want to do something graphic, there is Canva, that is like a website that you can do like some designs. They already have like some templates that you can use. Here you can see an explanation of the color palettes. So a little bit what kind of color to use depends of your audience and your message, how to write a copy. There is a project that the name is Climate Visuals. They are like an organization to help people to have like some picture related with climate that you can use as well. And the last one is an investigation related with how to sell in climate change that you can review later to really understand what kind of marketing are like the best ones to create like climate change engagement. So I don't know if Tina, you can help me with the breakout rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. So just before I open the breakout rooms, just for clarity, you're imagining that you're creating this post that everyone asked you to create as if it's coming from the campaign that you've just designed through your theory of change. So this is where you really start taking your theory of change and imagining what your campaign would look like, how it would sound, who it would speak to. As you can see on the board that Emma's showing you at the moment, all of the instructions are on there. You've got the resources on there as well. You can paste images onto a Miro board just using the standard copy and paste function that you would use on your laptops or computers. And you can use any part of this board, so go crazy. You can move around as much as you want and utilize different parts of it. And as he said, you'll have 20 minutes. And at the end of that 20 minutes, we'd really like to see some of your ideas for you presenting them back to us. So I put the Miro boards in the chat for one final time if you need to locate the right one for you, and then I'm going to open the rooms now and feel free to head over to whichever room you would like to for this activity. If anyone has any issues joining the rooms, just type in the chat what one you want to go to and I'll send you there. So anyone that hasn't yet, you should all be joining breakout rooms now. Just select whichever breakout room you would like to go to from the list in front of you. If you've just joined this webinar, that's not a problem, but just choose a breakout room, and then when you get there, we'll explain more about what we want you to do with your group. So I'm just waiting for a few people now. I've got Nina. If you want to tell me what room you want to go to, I'll send you there. Sylvia, Emmanuel, just let me know what room you would like to join and I'll send you there. Sylvia and Nina, would you like to go? Oh, Europe, sorry Nina, one sec. Europe. And Sylvia wants to go to Europe as well. Okay, Europe. Utma, remind me what room you were in last time?
Asia.
Asia.
I'm just joining. Actually, I got disconnected.
That's okay. No worries. I'll send you to Asia. I'll send you there now. Mohammed, we're working in breakout rooms at the moment. You've got a choice of North America, Asia, Africa, or Europe. So you can either select whichever one you want to go to, or let me know which one and I'll send you there. Mohammed, can you hear me? Hello, Mohammed, can you hear?
That 20 minutes, I know that is not enough to complete like everything that we ask, but the idea was like just to be creative and to talk a little bit more about the different kind of important elements for a brand. So now we want to hear you and to see what was the result of that breakout rooms and 20 minutes. So we want to see your creativity. So I don't know if one continent want to start of I choose one. I know that we have people in Europe, Asia, Africa, and North America. There are the 4.
North America can start if you'd like.
Perfect. Thank you, Megan.
How do you want us to do this? Do you want us to share our board or?
Yes, I can share.
Okay, I can do that.
Here.
Perfect.
Okay, so Megan and I both live in Southern Ontario, and our issue was habitat fragmentation and how there's just like a lot of overdevelopment and like a lot of new suburbs coming up, and how that's affecting a lot of the green areas and habitats in Southern Ontario. So we got to the point where it was like we were wanting to promote livable communities. So, you know, a mixed use area where you can live, work, play, and, you know, live like more sustainably. This can like avoid urban sprawl, and can promote protecting natural areas. So yeah, that's the basis of our campaign, living in livable communities.
So the first thing we put on the board was that sort of cartoon picture that you can see, and that ended up being our color palette. It's a little bit brighter on my screen. The colors sort of pop. We wanted it for our audience who are kind of the millennial youth, those looking to buy houses. And then from there, to try and sort of get a name, what we did is we just sort of shot out words that we thought connected to our theme. And two of the ones that came up were live and local, and we ended up combining those for our campaign name. We've called it Live Local. We've made it into a hashtag, and then to be able to sort of put our post together, what we decided to do is that for Earth Day, we would put together a quiz where people would be able to take the quiz and learn what their Live Local score would be, let them know, you know, kind of what their community is like. And then at the end, it would give people resources to be able to connect with their local governments to be able to push for having more livable, workable communities. That's what we came up with.
Thank you. That's awesome. It's amazing how in just 20 minutes you have like a lot of ideas. So imagine how much more you can do if you have a little bit more of time, but maybe this can be like the basis to continue with the ideas. So yeah, that's a really, really good one. I love the idea of the quiz. And so thank you, North America, and great job. So I don't know if maybe Asia can continue. That I saw that you have also some ideas. So maybe from someone from Asia want to explain. I'm going to share here.
So let's see who is in the Asia group. We could have Hiradita, Nivedita, Suyashi, or Upma. Would one of you mind just talking us through your board?
So I'll start saying, actually, we decided to have the name of the campaign with the Tanzanian language, Kulinda, which translates to protecting forest in English. And the key message will be each tree matters. And we have not decided the graphics yet, but we have decided the color palette that would be green and brown. And the video that we want to post on Earth Day would be about the different forests of Tanzania, depicting the message that Africa is not just about the long gushing grasslands, but also forests, mangroves, and some other forest, and it needs to be protected. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the message is so catchy and easy to remember. The name and also the key message is like going to the point. So that's a really good one. So I'm gonna move to Africa. Someone from Africa.
Hi, I can go ahead.
Thank you.
We really tried to put our heads together, and we thought of, because none of us unfortunately were there in the last session, so we had to work with what the other groups had done about deforestation. So the name of our campaign was Forests for Life, because forests give us life, and forests for life, for eternity. Our key message would have to encompass the following about encouraging togetherness in terms of purpose within the community for this goal to maintain our forests for life. And also encompass like how forests represent diversity in terms of the species that are found, the biodiversity as well, and the purpose of the ecosystem services that we get from the forest. And our color palettes were dark green, brown, and orange to also talk about the diversity in trees and also the diversity, not that we have a diversity in seasons really in Africa, but you know, some trees are just in different colors, just to encompass the diversity in trees. And we hadn't really gotten to the post-Earth Day message.
Perfect, thank you. And the same, the name is like really catchy, and I think it's really easy to remember, and it's have a really good insight. So we're going to move with Europe to end.
Hello. Yeah, our group was a bit of a disaster because I think there was only sort of 2 of us there. I don't know where everybody else went. I couldn't have access to that because there's something wrong with the software or whatever. And I actually spent half of it downstairs because I'm actually worried that my phone is actually just broken. So I think the previous session, this group was more on sort of waste is the sort of center of their campaign. So we just went with some names, and we just thought of one called Face the Waste and something like that. So those logos there were like 2 minutes before we went. I think the color palette should have been sort of brighter than that, and I think sort of lighter sort of greens and browns and things like that, because I think people like lighter colors, don't they? I think generally, especially blues and greens, but I think we sort of chose sort of greens and browns or whatever, but of course that bin or something like that on the left is black. But no, the sort of key messages was something like like use a bin, don't sin, or something like that, and to sort of reduce single-use plastics more than anything else, because that's the main issue with plastics, isn't it? Really, it's the single-use plastics which are to blame, because of course other plastics, they're in our houses for years and things like that. But unfortunately, we couldn't really do much more than that because I was panicking downstairs. So I do apologize.
Don't worry. I think the name is like also a really good one, and also it's like a really good one to call to action. And I think the idea is there, so it's just to work a little bit more about it. But yeah, it was a nice exercise. Thank you to be creative with us, and for your time for the activity, and also for all these sessions. And I'm going to pass the word to Tina to end.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. Christy's just said my attempt at a logo was not very good. It's meant to be half a face, half a wheelie bin. I thought it was really good. And Megan said that she loves the idea of a logo with a wheelie bin. Yeah, I mean, Europe, I think you're being way too hard on yourselves. That's a great idea for a campaign. Face the Waste is awesome because, you know, I think half of the issue from a behavioural perspective around waste is that we completely ignore that it's an issue. And so you're kind of inverting that through the name. I think it's really catchy. So, this just leaves me to wrap up, really. So a few things. Thanks so much, first of all, everybody, for joining. We are really trying to grow the Action Not Excuses movement at the moment and encourage more young people to get involved with the global campaign, either through joining some of the campaigns that you've heard about over the last couple of sessions, or indeed through setting up your own initiatives. And that's what we're here to do. That's what myself, Emma, Shambavi and Gerald do every day. We support young people to set up and establish environmental campaigns. And my final shameless plug for the platform, actionnotexcuses.org, is a space, of course, where you can connect with young people and with us, and we can provide you with those opportunities to make your ideas a reality. And actually, a lot of you have ended this session with a really solid basis for some really effective campaigns. And wouldn't it be nice if they were actually turned into some kind of a reality? So if that is something that you're interested in and that you'd like some support with, sign up to the platform, and I would recommend saving that link now, because as soon as this chat closes and this group closes, you won't be able to access that anymore. So it's actionnotexcuses.org. I'll put the link in the chat again. But equally, if you want to contact any of us directly for sort of support or advice when it comes to campaigning and designing environmental behaviour change campaigns, I will put my email address in the chat now, and you're all very welcome to send a message, and we'll help you in any way that we can. The only final little favour that I'd like to ask of everybody is please do go onto Instagram, onto Twitter, onto any of the other kind of social media channels and find the youth-led campaigns that are currently part of Action Not Excuses. You can find information on all of them on the website, but Grintalist is at GrintalistCR on Instagram. Dame Chance, which is a campaign that we haven't spoken about, based in Nicaragua, is also on Instagram at Dame Chance Nick. Kesha, which is the Tanzania reforestation campaign, is on at Raleigh Tanzania Society. That's the name of the group of young people that are leading that campaign. And then in Nepal, I think we've got a Raleigh Nepal Society Instagram, but we've also got a campaign in Malaysia called Circular Future, and that's at Circular Future MY. That's quite a new one. So yeah, please stay in touch. Please do use the Miro boards as a tool for planning any further action that you might want to take. And as I said, the four of us are only too happy to help anybody that would like more information on campaign training. If you're interested in us running some more training sessions, let us know and we'd happily do that. But yeah, other than that, please do sign up to the platform, and we've really enjoyed this and we hope that you've enjoyed it too. So thanks very much, everybody. And a big thank you to Emma, Shambavi and Gerald as well for all of their work on this. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Emma and Shambavi, I'm going to end the meeting and then I'll give you a call on Teams quickly for a quick debrief. All right.